Okay, let's take a look at a problem that involves factoring. So this problem is a bit different from other problems that you may have seen in this unit or in math in general. Um, so in order to be able to factor this, you have to remember how to group factor. So if we have something like ax cubed plus ax squared plus bx plus b, in order for us to factor this, we have to first uh, create two groups. Okay, so this is the first group, and this is the second group. And we're going to have to factor the greatest common factor out of each group. Okay, so out of this group, we factor out ax squared. Okay, and we're left with x plus 1 in the bracket. And out of this group, we factor out b, and we're left with x plus 1. Then the last step is to factor out the common bracket. And so the common bracket here is x plus 1. So we factor out x plus 1, and we're left with x plus 1 times ax squared plus b. Okay, so that's an example of group factoring, and we're going to have to use group factoring in order to factor this expression. Okay, so we begin by first distributing the variables. Okay, so we have x squared here, and we have x. So we distribute in x squared, so we get ax squared minus 2bx squared minus abx squared. And we do the same thing with this bracket. We distribute in the x, we get 2bx minus ax minus 2x. Okay, so then after distributing, we're going to have to move terms around. Okay, so that we have terms that have the same leading coefficient. Okay, so if we take a look at this term here and this term here have the same leading coefficient. So the leading coefficient here is AB, and it's AB here as well. So we bring these two together. Okay, we do the same thing with ax squared and ax. Okay, so they have the same leading coefficient. And 2bx squared and 2bx. So 2b they have the same leading coefficient, which is 2b. Okay, and then the last one would be negative 2x plus 2. Okay, so they have the same leading coefficient as well. Okay, so after moving terms, we now form groups. Okay, so this will be our first group. This will be the second group, third group, and the fourth group. After that, we factor the greatest common factor from each group. So the greatest common factor here is abx squared. Okay, so we factor abx squared out, we're left with x minus 1. Out of this group, the greatest common factor is ax. Okay, so we factor ax out, we're left with x minus 1. Out of this group, we factor out negative 2bx, and we're also left with x minus 1 in this bracket. And then out of this group, we factor out negative 2, and we're left with x minus 1 in this bracket. So we see that we have a common bracket here, x minus 1. Okay, so now we factor out the common bracket, okay, from each term, and we're left with abx squared plus ax minus 2bx minus 2 in this bracket, okay, in the second bracket. Okay, so now looking at the second bracket, we're also going to group factor it. Okay, so we're going to group factor the second bracket. So this here is our first group. Okay, and this here is our second group. Okay, so out of the first group, we're going to factor out ax, and we're going to be left with bx plus 1 in the second bracket. And out of the second group, we're going to factor out 2. Okay, and we're going to also, so negative 2. And we're going to be left with bx plus 1. Then the last step would be to factor out the common bracket here, so bx plus 1. Okay, so if we factor out the second bracket, we're going to have bx plus 1 and ax minus 2, okay, left in this bracket. So this is now fully factored, so we have x minus 1 times bx plus 1 times ax minus 2. Okay, thank you for watching.